everybody. My name is Rena. I'm a sophomore at Penn, and I'm here to share how God changed my life. So I had always known about God. I had taken theology classes since I was 10 years old. And when I was in grade school, I recall loving my friends so much that I wanted to call them sisters and be related to them. My friends who are Catholic told me that we were all related under God, and I liked that idea, so I went along with it. I learned about God through middle and high school, and even considered baptism before coming to Penn. Looking back, I think it was partly because I went to religious school, and partly because I feared God and damnation that I wanted to get baptized. But it wasn't until last fall that I encountered God and saw what it really meant to believe. As a child, I had obsessive compulsive disorder, and I did not know it was called that, of course, and was only diagnosed later. But I was aware that I worried excessively for a kid, and perhaps even for an adult. I recall every time there was a holiday, like Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, I would call up my friends at around 7 a.m. in the morning, because that's when I would leave for school, to double check if we had class. I don't think my friends appreciated this wake-up call very much, but I didn't see the irrationality in my actions then. So I would call once, twice, maybe 3 or 4 times until I got my answer. I spent the entire morning, literally hours, on some occasions trying to double check, so to speak, in whatever way feasible, thus wasting time and driving myself nuts. Coming to Penn, it was no different. I recall sitting in Chemistry 101, and the whole time my mind would be reviewing my steps, checking if I had locked my door, which didn't help much on the part of my understanding particle in a box. If my mom did not pick up the phone when I called home, I would imagine with incredible vividness the worst scenario imaginable, until I was proven otherwise. Sure, this interfered with my life, my concentration, my social interactions with others, but it wasn't that bad. I mean, I usually had rather good control of it. Last fall was a bit different. I think the pressure of stress, being away from home, loneliness, and the never-ceasing hustle and bustle of Penn life, and city life in general, contributed to my OCD, which escalated into anxiety and depression. I went to student health a couple of times, because then I had started experiencing physical symptoms. I experienced tremors, I was incredibly forgetful, and I was always tired. Student health didn't find anything wrong with me, so they sent me to other specialists. I alone did not know what to do. I had crying spells and cried for petty reasons, in my room, in the library, wherever I was, and I was quite irritable because my mind was so cluttered. For a short while, though it seemed like a long time at that time, I internalized all my senses and thought that I was dying. It seems so strange now, but it was so real at the time. I was scared of death, scared of myself, and scared of hurting myself. I would look into the mirror and just not know who I was. And I remember crying, praying, and begging God to help me. And that's how it was for a couple of weeks. I don't know if anybody noticed. I certainly hope not, but I was having a really difficult time. I went to see a therapist. At the same time, I started going to church. Because though I had gone to family group, I had never really gone to church. Until then, I had not taken it very seriously. I thought church was a lot of time, perhaps too much time to spare, and that it was fine for me to pray on my own, in my own time. But I decided to give it a try, because nothing's worked so far, and what did I have to lose? The first time I went, I was a bit taken aback by how religious and passionate everybody was. The second time, I was pretty much like that was a nice break from reality, but now I've got to face what I've got to face. But I went, every Sunday, and God worked in me, slowly but steadily. I can't exactly pinpoint an exact moment of revelation or an epiphanic event when I was convinced that God is God or that Jesus died for me. But before I realized it, I did. I continued seeing the specialist under their recommendation, but after a while, I just didn't feel like it was going anywhere. It's like they were only picking out the problems that fit in with their theory, I was like, what about all my other problems? So I stopped, but I continued going to church. And I read the Bible. I think a lot of my anxiety came from a pervading fear of uncertainty. And I've learned that OCD and other conditions similar is built largely on the way you think, hence the logic behind cognitive behavioral science. I feel that God changed the way I think, and in so many different ways changed the lens through which I see things. The world has not changed, but how I see it has. God may not have taken away my burden, but it certainly feels that way. And I trust in Jesus. I trust in Jesus when he said, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." Do not let your hearts be troubled. Trust in God, trust also in me. Trusting was always difficult for me, but God showed me that I could trust in him, trust in others, and that I could trust that I was not alone in my struggles. That was comforting in itself, and it was enough for me, but God continued to bless me with even more convictions on how to live. I feel the most refreshing peace of mind, almost when I was 5 and had not a care in the world. Coming to GCC has been such an immense blessing. It's made me laugh when I couldn't, and it's made me cry. It's really touched my heart. I have been blessed with encountering some of the kindest, most sensational people that I've ever met. God saved me when I felt my most hopeless, and I'm the happiest I've been in a long time. Thank you.